All right, so this movie starts with this girl, Asa Takumi, and she's having the best day ever. Her mom and dad picked her up from school, and they're all going to hang out together. She's walking to the car, super happy with an ice cream in her hand, when bam! This speeding truck just smashes right into her parents' car. Her whole world just shatters right there on the street. It's a total disaster. So the next thing you know, we're in a hospital. Asa's grandma's there, and she finds out that both her mom and dad are dead. Asa is so wrecked, she basically just shuts down. The grandma calls her other daughter, Asa's aunt, to deal with all the legal stuff, and then they have the funeral. And get this, at the funeral, everyone's talking about poor Asa, who's just a teenager and can't live without her parents. But even though there's all this family around, nobody wants to take her in, not even her own grandma. So messed up, right? Then, this woman, Makio, who's Asa's aunt, starts feeling really bad. Apparently, she never even liked her sister, Asa's mom, but she decides to step up. She goes to Asa and is basically like, look, I always hated your mom, but if you want, you can come live with me. Asa just starts crying because, seriously, Makio's the only one who's even thinking about her, so she agrees to go with her. After the funeral, Asa shows up at Makio's house with her stuff. Makio makes her wait outside for a few minutes, which is kind of weird, and when she finally lets her in, the place is a complete train wreck. There's so much junk everywhere you can barely walk. Makio gives her the quick tour, bathroom, fridge, here's your corner, and then gets right back to work. She calls up her friend, who's also her boss, and tells her she's adopted her niece. Her friend is totally shocked because Makio is famous for being irresponsible. She's like, I remember asking you to watch my cat for 3 days and you said no. Her boss tells her she should call up an old friend, Shingo, who's a lawyer and can help with all the legal stuff. So the next day, Makio is sleeping in, but Asa has to go to school. So she gets up, gets ready, makes her own breakfast, and heads out. At school, she runs into her best friend who starts saying how sorry she is about her parents. But Asa is just not in the mood for sympathy. Her friend gets all scared and is like, sorry, but you were gone for so long I had to tell the teacher what happened. And right then, the teacher shows up and starts doing the same thing. She's like, oh, Asa, you poor thing. I told all the other students what happened to you, so no one will tease you and they'll help you catch up. This just makes Asa feel 1,000,000 times worse. She tells the teacher, I only have a few months of school left. I just wanted things to be normal, and you totally ruined it. She storms off. And on the way out, she tells her friend, I hate you. She's so sad and broken, she goes all the way back to her old house and just starts knocking on the door. After a while, a neighbor sees her and calls out her name. For a second, Asa thinks it's her mom. But then she turns and sees it's the neighbor, and it all comes crashing back. Her mom is gone. No one's ever going to open that door again. She just ends up wandering around the city, totally lost. Meanwhile, Makio is meeting with Shingo, the lawyer, who, surprise, is also her ex-boyfriend. He is completely floored by her decision. He's like, wait, what, you? Taking responsibility for a kid? The whole reason we broke up is because you didn't want to get married and have a family. Makio just says she got emotional when she saw Asa. Shingo tells her, hey, it's not final yet, you can still back out, but Makio's made up her mind. She rushes home because she's worried that Asa should be back from school by now. She waits outside for a long time, getting more and more anxious. Finally, in the evening, Asa shows up. Makio asks her really sweetly why she's so late, but Asa is just not in the mood for her horrible, no-good day, so she just lies and says, oh, I just forgot the way to your house. So Makio is like, okay, but next time, if you're going to be late or you're in trouble, just call me. I was worried. Later that night, Asa feels really bad about how she acted at school, so she calls her friend and apologizes. Things kind of go on like this for a few days, and then Makio takes Asa back to her old house. She wants Asa to pack up all her important stuff so she can move into Makio's place for good. While they're packing, they find this jar of pickles. Asa tells Makio, I used to hate pickles, but then my mom made these, and now I love them. Makio's like, yeah, I hate pickles too. But Asa insists, just try one. So Makio does, and what do you know? They're actually pretty good. Now, Makio likes pickles. Then Asa asks her straight up, why did you hate my mom so much? She thinks maybe talking about it will help Makio let go of some of that hate. But Makio is like, nope, my hatred for your mom is never going away. If it didn't change when she was alive, it's not going to change now. Asa tries to argue, but you changed your mind about pickles. Maybe you can change your mind about this. But Makio just shuts her down, saying, pickles and life are two totally different things. You can't understand the hate I have inside me. So they go back to Makio's messy apartment. The next morning, Asa has the day off school, so she starts cleaning the whole place. When Makio wakes up, she's totally shocked. She can actually walk around now. Everything is neat and organized.
Asa tells her not to worry. She'll handle all the housework from now on. But this just makes Makio feel guilty, like she's dumping all her responsibilities on a kid. But Asa insists she's doing it because it makes her happy. Makio is actually really pleased, and she gives Asa a diary so she can write down her feelings. That night, Makio invites her boss over, and she and Asa meet for the first time. They totally hit it off. Life starts to feel a little more normal. Asa even gets into high school. But high school is kind of lonely at first because all her old friends have made new friends. Then one day, a lawyer from child welfare shows up and is totally grilling Makio. Apparently, a huge chunk of money was taken from Asa's account all at once, and the lawyer thinks Makio is stealing from her. Makio is trying to explain that she has no idea what's going on, and thankfully Asa walks in right at that moment. She confesses, "It was me. I spent the money. I'm really into music, and I needed this special laptop to make it." She apologizes to Makio, saying she was scared Makio would say no, just like her mom would have. The lawyer is super embarrassed and apologizes to Makio. Just as the lawyer is leaving, who shows up? Grandma. She takes them both out to lunch and asks if everything's okay. They both seem happy, so Grandma's relieved. Before she leaves, she gives Makio an envelope she found at Asa's old house and tells her to give it to Asa when the time is right. When Makio opens it later, it's her sister's diary. Her sister had wanted to give it to Asa when she started high school, but, she died before she could. Makio gets a little emotional reading it, but she decides not to give it to Asa just yet. She's worried it'll just make Asa sad all over again, right? Well, she's finally starting to feel better. And Asa is feeling better. She joins a music band at school, and they're writing some really cool songs. One day, she writes some new lyrics and shows them to Makio. They're good, but Makio helps her fix a few things, and they end up being amazing. When Asa sings the song for her friends, they all love it. Asa is so happy, and now she's determined to get Makio's life back on track too. She drags Makio to a library where a novel Makio wrote years ago is still a bestseller. All these fans start asking for her autograph, and who's there? Her ex-boyfriend Shingo. He asks her out, and she actually says yes. Makio feels amazing, and it's all thanks to Asa. Later, Makio is out with Shingo, but all she can talk about is Asa. It's obvious she's really taken her new role seriously. She even tells Shingo about the diary. He advises her to just wait for the right moment to give it to her. The next day at school, everyone is raving about Asa's lyrics. They even put them up on the notice board. But Asa's not satisfied. She wants to be a great writer just like Makio. When she gets home, she finds Shingo there visiting Makio.
She was so happy to see them and was like, "OMG, are you guys back together?" But Shingo totally dodged the question and instead was like, "Hey, did you read that diary your mom left for you?" And Asa is just standing there, totally confused, like, what diary? So yeah, busted. Makio never gave her the diary. It was a whole big thing. Now that the cat was out of the bag, Makio had to hand it over. Asa gets super emotional and she confronts Makio asking, "Why did you even agree to take me in that day?" And Makio says the absolute worst thing possible. Basically, "I don't know, no one else was stepping up, so I figured I should." Asa just loses it. She's like, "So you just felt sorry for me? You have a mom and you have Shingo. I have nobody." And then she just storms out. The next morning is a huge deal. It's her board exams, and Asa just doesn't show up. She totally skips it. Her teacher calls Makio and just rips into her for being so irresponsible. But Makio knows Asa left for school that morning, so she must have just bailed. Makio starts to panic and goes over to her mom's house, and her mom is like, "Yeah, Asa was here a little while ago." She's really, really sad. She needs a lot of attention. This makes Makio ask her mom, "How do you even do this? How are you supposed to raise a kid?" Her mom kind of takes it personally and is like, "What, you think I did a bad job with you?" And then, bam, we get this huge flashback. Get this, it turns out Makio's mom was always working, so it was actually her sister, Asa's mom, who raised her. And apparently, she was super hard on Makio all the time, constantly telling her she wasn't good at anything and didn't fit in. This is the big reason why Makio always hated her sister and became such a loner. She even tells her mom that she wasn't that sad when her sister died. Total bombshell. After saying that, she just gets up and leaves. So Makio goes to this lake, a special spot she's gone to since she was a kid, and who else is there? Asa. Turns out her mom used to bring her to the same lake. Asa sees this woman from far away who looks exactly like her mom. She starts running towards her and, surprise, it's Makio. Makio's like, "What are you doing here? You should be in school right now." Asa just avoids the question. Then Asa finally spills the beans. She tells Makio she hasn't read the diary because she's scared of what it might say. She feels like she never really got to know her mom and is just trying to piece her together through memories.
She describes her mom as the super organized, perfect person. And Makio's like, yeah, she sounds great from your perspective, but my experience was way different. Then she tells Asa the whole story about how her sister tore up a drama script she wrote when they were kids. Makio hated her for that her entire life. But then she has this massive realization. She's like, living with you? I finally get it. She didn't hate me. She cared about me. If she hadn't ripped up that script, I probably never would have gotten the guts to write my best-selling novel. Today, when you didn't go to school, I was worried about you, just like she would have been. The thing I thought was hate my whole life was actually her just caring. After that huge emotional talk, all the hatred Makio had for her sister just vanishes. They go to her mom's grave together and put down flowers. Asa has a good long cry, and this time, Makio is right there to support her. Time passes, and things are looking up. Asa's life is back to normal, all thanks to Makio. Her school music band is getting pretty famous, and she finally read her mom's diary, where her mom wrote that her biggest wish was to see Asa become successful. And she is. The movie ends with Makio watching Asa's singing videos online, just looking so incredibly proud.